My name is Mahadisa and I'm here with Chelsea.
Hi.
Today we have two very special guests alongside us who literally need no introduction. Please welcome to the PNC podcast, the Honourable Premier Marshall and the Honourable Minister Sanderson.
Premier, we are so excited for you to be here today. We understand that you've had to answer thousands of questions about COVID-19, so we want to reassure you that this interview today will be far less politically intensive. We will, however, start by saying your handling of the current pandemic has been absolutely incredible, and for that reason alone, we want to award you with the coveted Legend of the Week award. You really deserve a Legend of the Year award, but we haven't created that segment yet, so please don't think we're undermining you.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Chelsea.
That's all right.
To be honest, it is so cool that you actually came to Prospect North Primary School to accept the award. When we sent you the email, we are so shocked when we see this respond. So thank you so much.
It's an honour and a privilege to be here. I have never seen anything quite like this. It just must be such a thrill to come to a school with facilities like this. We thought it was really amazing that we had a blackboard at school, but that was a long time ago.
So, how does a man start from a successful family furniture business and end up with the top job in SA politics?
I think the most important thing in my life was setting goals. So I didn't go to a very upmarket school like this beautiful school with wonderful facilities. I went to primary school back in the 1970s to Ethelton Primary School. It doesn't even exist anymore. But we had great teachers who really were absolutely dedicated. And my father in particular told me, set goals and make them as ambitious as you possibly can and then just work really hard for them. So that's what I've done my whole life.
We consider you such an inspirational figure. So what advice would you give us young people who have big dreams and aspirations?
My advice to you would be exactly the same as my father gave to me, and just set goals. It doesn't matter whether they be for schoolwork or whether they be to get a part-time job or whether they be for one of your passions, whether it be a sport or whether it be art, whether it be learning a language. Just set those goals, and the more that you set goals, the more likely you are to achieve them. And sometimes people are scared to set goals because they think, oh, well, if I don't achieve it, then I'm a loser. But you're not. If you set those goals, you're far more likely to achieve them, and then you just make sure that you can practice or you can learn or you can really push yourself. So that would be my advice.
So, Premier, I understand with everything on your plate, you wouldn't be getting much rest. Is it true that you only sleep 4 hours a night?
Sometimes only 4 hours a night, but I try to get more than that, and especially if I'm talking to a group of students, you must get more than 4 hours. You deserve 8 hours. I've already heard from Chelsea that there's lots of homework, so you do need to get a good rest if you've got school all day and homework at night. So try to get 8 hours. But it has been really, really difficult with the COVID-19 pandemic, and there've been lots and lots of work to do. 1 week, Rachel and I attended 6 cabinet meetings in 7 days because there were lots of decisions that needed to be made. And so there wasn't much sleep during that time. But I do get up early. I get up at 5:15 every day. But lately I've been getting up a little bit earlier. But I always think that's good to get up early because I get a lot of work done before I have to start the day, if you know what I mean. So I like it.
In politics, you're always prone to criticism. What is the meanest thing someone has ever said to you?
Oh my goodness, me. I don't know. People do say mean things, but often they're just frustrated, especially on social media. And I just think you've got to ignore a lot of that. I just genuinely think people that go on to social media and attack other people, they're just not worth. So I just delete a lot of those messages. If I took it really seriously the whole time, I would never get anything done. And so to young students as well, be really careful that you don't read too much into people on social media. Often, they don't really mean it. They're just out there. They're just lashing out. And I think, no, delete those messages.
Yeah.
Block.
Delete and block.
I believe you have an MBA from Durham University. Where would you see yourself today if you were not in politics?
Oh, wow. Well, I did go to uni in England for a year, which was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't really understand everything that they were saying because up in Durham they talk like, "Hoe the toon," tuname, hello petal, hello flower. So it was like the first term was just trying to work out what they were exactly saying. And they probably thought exactly the same thing about me coming from Australia. But it was a great year. I don't know exactly what I would be doing if I wasn't in politics. Rachel and I have been in for 10 years. So we just had our 10th anniversary of being members of Parliament. I think I'd probably be back in the business sector. So it's a really, I grew up in a family business. Our family made lots of furniture, including for lots of schools in South Australia, and hospital beds and desks and furniture that you can buy from the big department stores. So that was what I did before, and I think that's probably what I would have continued doing. But I did think that this is a great state, and people have got to put their hands up and get into Parliament to put forward ideas for growing our state. And so for any students that are listening, think about politics. If you don't mind a little bit of criticism, and if you want to work hard, can be very, very rewarding, especially as you start to see some of the aspects of your career unfolding and some of the programs that you're putting in place coming to fruition.
The school employed Sammy Leverins this year to run the digital media operation, and he was the one that was in contact with your office. We have learned so many new skills that will hopefully help us for our future, and we love being a part of this program.
Principal Marg and Mr. Wegner have been a driving force behind our STEM programs and alternative learning. How important do you think these educational initiatives are for our generation moving forward?
They're just critical. Honestly, as I was saying before, when I went to school, it was really a very basic but good education. It was about reading, writing, and we called it arithmetic, but it was really maths. I think you would call it maths today. They were the three key things that we did, and then slowly new subjects were coming onto the curriculum back then, like PE, everybody's favourite, and also music. But they were the main things that we were learning when we were at primary school. But now the curriculum has massively expanded, and the type of subjects that people can study at primary school and at secondary school are truly amazing. And I think that it really prepares you for that next stage in life. And the fact that at your school you've got the ability to learn more about digital technologies, I think puts you in a really, really good position. So, one of the subjects that was the most important when we were learning was to learn how to write in cursive. I don't know whether people can even do it because it's all digital and it's all on a device now, and it's just moving your fingers around. My kids think I'm funny because I still do it with one finger and they're on both fingers. But do you do both or one?
Both.
Both thumbs, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm so old-fashioned, so I'm still doing the one finger at a time. But look, things evolve over time and you need to get different skills. And the great thing about schools in Australia, and particularly here in South Australia, is they're moving with the times and they're thinking about the sort of the jobs and the careers that you're going to be getting when you finish high school, and they're starting to build that into the subjects at primary school. I think it's fantastic. It's been great being here today.
Do you ever actually get to drive your car, or do you always have to be driven around?
No, I've got a car. I'm not the best driver, but no, I've got a car. But also when I'm on official business, we do have a driver. And there's a number of reasons for that. Some are security related and some are just about getting to lots of places really quickly. Because could you imagine if you're the Premier or a Minister and you've got 30 meetings that day and you had to go and find a car park and run down the street, and then it was raining, and sometimes you have 4 or 5 people that need to go with you to meetings. So for that reason, we've had in South Australia for a long time that the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition, the Governor, the Ministers get a car so that they can get their work done as quickly as possible.
At the moment, we are running PN's Got Talent, where students showcase their skills on the green screen. Do you have a hidden talent that we need to know about?
A hidden talent?
Yeah.
What's your hidden talent?
I don't really think I have one.
I haven't found mine yet.
I haven't found it yet.
I haven't found mine. What about you, Rachel? Have you got a hidden talent?
No. I could juggle just a small amount, not very much. But
that's very impressive. Juggling a small amount. That's not really...
I can juggle 3 balls sometimes for a couple of goes.
We have some juggling balls here that you can use.
Fantastic.
No, I don't really.
No,
not really. I don't think so. No, not a hidden talent. No.
I want to ask this question to both Premier Marshall and Minister Sanderson. Name your favourite artist of all time.
Oh my goodness, you go first, Rachel.
Well, I was thinking about this, and I think probably Phil Collins, because I like him from my era. But if it was a more modern day, Adele has an amazing voice, and Taylor Swift has some really catchy songs like Shake It Off, which is good for bullies, isn't it? No.
Oh my goodness, you've thought about that a lot.
Yeah,
Well, do you know the big rock band when I was a kid, it's sort of a bit embarrassing, was ABBA. So ABBA was like the big rock band, and it's hilarious. But I went to the ABBA concert in Adelaide in 1979. And so they were, there was a big, at my school, are you into ABBA or are you into the Bay City Rollers? Let me tell you, nobody remembers the Bay City Rollers anymore. And then it became ABBA and Kiss. And that was the big thing at school. But yeah, no, they were the stars when I was a kid. But now, I mean, there's just so many. I think we've got some great talent out of South Australia. Sia is from Adelaide. I mean, she's an incredible artist and really known all around the world. So it's great that she comes from Adelaide.
And your favourite songs?
Oh my goodness. Rachel, back to you.
Well, there were a couple of songs that I had when I first decided to get involved in politics.
Yeah.
And one of them was Miley Cyrus, The Climb, because it was all about setting a goal and having a path, and that you don't always succeed the first time, but you keep going, and that it's important to climb and always have an aspiration.
Yeah.
So,
like not giving up.
yes, that's it, about not giving up. So that's probably one of my favourite songs that reminds me of my role and my job and what life is about.
Yeah. Could you sing us 4 lines? It's a PNC podcast tradition.
Well, I know. Perhaps I could YouTube it for you. And
Oh my
well,
You've got to sing
I
it.
don't have. I'm so worried now. I've just done a press conference with the whole press back, and it was just easy. And now I'm completely nervous. I don't have a song.
We'll listen to her while you think of one.
why don't we think of your song while I cue mine up, because I think
Wait on. What is your favourite song?
Yes, do that.
I have a lot of favourite songs.
But what's your top one? My
What's
daughter
yours,
loved
Chelsea?
Justin Bieber. She used to be obsessed with she would kill me if she heard me say that. She's 20 now, but when she was in primary school, she just loved Justin Bieber. But that's old hat now, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about
What's
you,
your
Chelsea?
favourite?
What's your favourite?
Put me on the spot.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
I need to think about this. Oh. I don't know.
Come on.
No.
You know so many songs. Come on.
No, I don't have one. I don't have a favourite song.
Well, I think I'd have to go with just to be. Oh no, but then I get half the school will hate me, maybe more than half. But what about the Port Adelaide Football Club song?
That's what you should say.
We are the power from Port. It's more than a sport. It's a true Port Adelaide tradition. Power!
Yes.
Oh my god.
That has made every Crow person at the school just they'll just be rolling their eyes now.
I listen more
Agreed.
to like Bollywood songs.
Oh, Bollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, and do you do the actions as well?
No, I just don't listen to it. Yeah.
Very good.
They're really up.
Rachel, what's your
Oh,
song?
I don't know that I could actually sing it. It won't be very good.
It's okay, just
Go
have
on,
a go.
it's okay.
Oh my god.
I could read it.
No
Is
judgment.
someone else going to sing it with me? No.
Chelsea, come on.
No,
Come on,
There you go.
Chelsea.
Why
Not
don't
a
we sing
duet.
it together?
Not a duet.
No. Hang on. Why don't we see if Miley could sing it better for us?
Okay,
See where
do
Miley's
Marley.
up to.
Do Marley. It's a lot of high notes there. I'm not joining you. Good song though.
Yeah,
Well
good
done, Rachel. That's well done.
Thank you, guys. All right. So, Minister Sanderson, you've been in the Parliament for 10 years now. How stoked were you to land the Minister for Child Protection in 2018?
I was absolutely thrilled and honoured. I was the Shadow Minister for nearly 4 years prior to that, so I dreamt of the moment of being the Minister and had put a lot of effort into researching what I would do and what I would change. And every time something went wrong, that I was looking at from opposition, I would think, what would I do if I was the minister? How would I make a difference, and how would I change that? So rather than ever complaining about something that went wrong, I always thought, before you complain about it, you should have the solution. So I spent many years thinking about what I would do, and now I'm thrilled that I'm there and able to start initiating some of those programs and make the changes that I've dreamt about for many, many years.
You have done a lot of amazing work in the community and even delivered for Meals on Wheels. What makes you so passionate about helping people?
Well, I think we're all on this earth for a reason. I think that we all have special skills and abilities, and one of the most important things that you could do is help other people. And I think it's the most rewarding thing that you could ever do is to help other people as well. So I love it. I really enjoy seeing the happy smiles of people, and when you visit people.
It's amazing what you do. It's incredible.
Thank you.
So I understand that you established your own modelling agency. Does it still exist, and how did this all come about?
Yes, it does still exist. I sold it. It's still going, and it really came about because I rang around modelling agencies when I was young to find out about modelling, and pretty well people had in their mind that you had to be a certain height and a certain look to be a model. And I thought, well, I disagree with that. I think that all people can be beautiful. Yeah. I think that confidence is one of the most endearing qualities that anybody has. And I think that we all are stunning and beautiful, and we just need to make the most of what we've been given. How we were born is exactly perfect. And I thought the best way to change that attitude in society is start your own business. So I had every nationality, every body size, every height and every age. My oldest model was 94 and still got work. And that made me feel good that I was disproving that you don't have to be overly thin and tall and, a bit sick looking. My models were known for being healthy and representing real people, and knew how to look after their skin and their hair and their makeup, their stance, their confidence.
Yeah,
and
because not everyone's the same. Yeah.
We're not, and everybody's beautiful. We just got to know how to feel good about it and project better.
There's a TikTok account under your name, Premier Marshall. Is it really you?
Well, I don't really know much about TikTok, but my office, they're always thinking I've got to do something new, whether it be TikTok or WeChat or Instagram. I'm loving Instagram. I've worked out how to use that now, but TikTok is the next thing. So I have had some friends who have sent me through some of their kids' TikTok things or posts, which are hilarious. So I should definitely get to do a bit more in that area. Have you guys got a TikTok?
No.
Officially, no.
Officially, no.
Oh, they're not allowed to. Kids aren't allowed to. All right, no, definitely no.
It's 13 plus, yeah.
I don't have one. I've got no idea how to find it.
Is there a current fashion trend that you just don't get?
Rachel, you'd know about that.
Well, people that have the crotch of their pants down near their knees, that's just really weird. Those pants that are tight and they're kind of falling off.
Yes.
Yeah.
How could you run fast with those?
And I think also, with haircuts as well. Like when I was growing up, we had the original mullet, and now there's the new mullet, and you're seeing people that are half shaven with, no.
Yes, there's a few fashion trends that you're better off skipping.
What are you currently watching on Netflix, and have you seen The Last Dance?
I haven't seen The Last Dance, but my son sent me a text the other night and he said, look, when you get a chance, watch Schitt Creek. Do you know this SCHITT? You've got to be careful how you say that word.
And I think it might be on normal TV because I think I've seen it.
Oh, well, I watched it on Netflix last night.
Maybe the repeats. I probably have seen the very old versions.
Right.
But I don't have Netflix, but I've been to one of my friends' houses who does and binge watched The Crown because I love The Crown.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, that's a great program. And we've had 2 series of that so far, so everybody's looking forward to the 3rd series.
Yes.
When's that due?
I don't know, but as soon as I hear, I'll be watching it.
So who's your biggest inspiration and why?
Rachel, you better go first.
Well, I've never really had just one person, but I look at all people and I could take characteristics from a lot of people that I know that I admire. So I've always chosen, even as a young person, to think, I'd like that about this person, and that one's really strong, and that one's great at sport, and that person's a good public speaker, and that one's really funny. So I've always thought it's good to admire different characteristics in a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like Rachel. I think there's lots of people that provide inspiration. For me, the biggest figure in my life was my dad, who worked very, very hard. He came from a very humble background, just worked very hard, set his goals. He always told me that we lived in the best country in the world because it didn't really matter where you started in life. If you set your goals and you work hard, you can achieve anything. And I sort of think like I've sort of proven that because, in a lot of countries, you really have to come from a certain background to become a leader of a political party. And in Australia, it's just great. Anybody who's got that aspiration and who works hard, I think, can make it in politics in Australia. And that's one of the great things about living in our country.
Who is the most famous person that you have ever met?
Well, I've met Her Majesty the Queen.
I'm very jealous.
So last year I went to Buckingham Palace and I had the most amazing conversation with her. It wasn't like it was just like 1 minute. I was there for nearly 25 minutes and she was asking lots and lots of questions. She was really interested in Adelaide. She could remember all of her trips here. She could remember her parents coming to Adelaide and where they stayed. She was, just amazing. And right at the very end, she said, well, it's been a pleasure to catch up and I've really loved all of my trips to South Australia, but I don't think I'll be getting back there again. I thought, oh, that's sort of sad, really, but she's 94. So, but I thought it was really great that it wasn't like just some far off place that she couldn't remember. She knew absolutely everything about it. And of course, she's represented in Adelaide by the Governor, His Excellency, the Honourable Hugh Van Lay, who has done an amazing job now. He's in his 6th year as being the Governor of South Australia. So, yes, she's definitely the most amazing person that I've met.
Oh, my God, that's really lucky. What about you?
Well, I'm very jealous that I haven't met the Queen, but I have met the Governor and I've met the Prime Minister or several Prime Ministers. But probably the most famous person that I've met is George Harrison from the Beatles, and that was in the 90s. In the 1990s when he was in Adelaide.
These two don't even know what you're talking about.
I
You
don't.
would have heard the Beatles. Your parents would have heard the Beatles anyway.
Parents and grandparents.
They're a band. Fairly famous.
Okay. Do you seriously get sick of wearing a suit every day? Like, you're the Premier. Don't you? Why wouldn't you change the dress code to like singlets and like thongs?
Well, it's a good question, but it's really not about my comfort. But when you go to visit somebody, for them it can be a very important occasion. And so if you just turned up in thongs and a T-shirt, they would think, oh, he's not made very much of an effort. So I always try to present, the government and represent the government. And I've just come straight here from laying a wreath at a war memorial to commemorate the service of Aboriginal men and women, because we're in the middle of Reconciliation Week this week. And so if I turned up at that just with a T-shirt on, people would think, oh, that's terrible. So I always try to think, well, my job is to represent the people of South Australia, and I try and present myself well every day. Unlike some people in my office who turn up without shaving and sometimes without a tie and all sorts of things that all the young ones do. But I'm 52, so I grew up this way. So.
Okay, finally, when are we seeing footy back in SA?
Oh,
And what team do you barrack for?
I'm Port Adelaide through and through at the AFL level, but also the Norwood at the SANFL level, because I live in Norwood, just around the corner from the grounds. So I'm the number one ticket holder at the Norwood Footy Club. Who do you go for?
Port Power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I liked you. Chelsea,
Gross.
The Crows. I'm the Crows.
Oh.
And North Adelaide.
please. The Crows.
Okay, we better wrap it up.
Okay.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to come into the studio, Premier Marshall and Minister Sanderson. We know you have to head into another meeting, but are you sure you don't want to stay here and hang out with us?
I've got to tell
quite
you,
fun.
this is a very cool school, and every person I've met here, your teachers and your principal and all of your classmates, amazing. So you must love it. And I hope that you get to really enjoy Year 7. It's an amazing year of leadership. So
It is.
well done. It's been an extraordinary year, 2020. I don't think anybody will ever forget what they were doing in the year 2020. It's a year that so many lives have been changed. But again, you know, where else would you want to live at the moment than in Australia? Because we've done so well with tackling the coronavirus. So well done, everybody.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Remember to stay safe, stay calm, and be kind. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.